Well, howdy, all you collector car fans out there. This is once again Jason, the owner and founder of Southern Bush Motorsports. Well, this is another great Tales from the Bush story. This is also a class, a lesson for the future generations. So I'm just saying this in the beginning so, you guys that probably already know all this stuff, don't forget to contribute. If you got some comments, people are going to read this in the future, but, it's probably going to be pretty boring for you. So let's just get started. So really what this is all about is, so you see a car like this on eBay. It's a pretty cool car. It looks like it's pretty rare. It's a, big block Mustang, and it's not about do you save this car. It's about can you afford to save this car? Because, things are getting expensive now, and it's not like you can hoard cars the way these old boys used to do, where they put 500 cars in a building or 100 cars in a building. Because back then you could do that because they were only paying a couple $100 or 500 or $1,000 for the car. Now it's more of an individualized thing. So you're looking at this Mustang. This Mustang was sent to me a long time ago. I think it's 20 years ago. But it was about to be put on eBay, and I dealt with it a much different way because it was a pretty rare car, a pretty cool car. So here are your issues. It's not about can you afford to restore this Mustang. It's how much can you afford to put into this Mustang. When do you draw the line? So you're doing good, you've got a great future, nice job, you want an old muscle car. Okay, well, a car like this is going to need a lot of work, and it's going to need a lot of money before you even buy the car. So you see this car, let's just say you see this car on eBay. Okay, so this car is probably going to be in about $35,000. Now, straight up the gap, you're going to lose the car for 3 years. If you can't do the restoration and you have to send it to a restoration shop, you're going to lose this car for about 2 to 3 years. So you're into the car for 30 grand. Now remember, this is a rare car. I'm saving this car. 100% I'm saving this car. You made a good call looking at this car. You want to buy it. This is definitely a car that you want to save. So you made a smart call. This is definitely the one you want to save. But it's not really about that. What it's really about is, can you afford to actually save this car? So you're going to lose the car 2 to 3 years. Restoration shops probably with sight unseen right now, 50 grand to restore this car. Now bear in mind when this car is done, oh, you're going to have a beauty. This is going to be a beautiful car. Big block, air driver, Cobra Jet car. Everything's there. This was a numbers matching car. It was rough. But, I hate to see it in a situation like this where somebody had done a lot of the work on the car, but it's the whole car needed to come apart. So you're talking 50 grand. The guy had all the parts for the car. There was nothing missing off the car. Numbers matching from front to back. So you're going to be into this car for $35,000. Okay? You know right now, because I've told you, you're going to lose the car if you put it to a restoration shop for 2 to 3 years. Because it takes a long time to do these cars, and these guys do a lot of cars at one time. So you really got to know what you're going into and what your decision is and what you're going to do with the car. If you're going to restore it for yourself, okay. So you're into it for $35,000 for the initial car. Lose the car for 2 to 3 years. Restoration shop's going to want 50 grand minimum, and that's if you don't run into major problems. There could be frame, like that right there. That's going to need to be replaced. That whole frame rail is going to need to be replaced, and we're just getting started. So the engine's going to need to be, all that stuff is factored in. So you're going to be into the car for $80,000 to $90,000. Is it going to be worth it? Yeah. Yeah, by the time that car is done, 2 to 3 years, it's a real 428 Cobra Jet car. You're going to be able to resell this car. 2 to 3 years from now, you probably get 125 grand for the car. But you got to know why you're doing it. Are you going into it just to make money on the car? Yeah, this is a moneymaker car. Everything's there. Numbers match the motor. All the parts are there. All the key parts are there. And it is a real Cobra Jet 428 car. So you really can't go wrong. But it's a decision that you have to make. And that's what this whole video is about. Is can you as the person that's looking at this car on eBay, actually afford it? That's the biggest question. That's one of the hardest things to answer. So let me get into a shameless plug. Southern Bush Motorsports is finally coming out with some merch, as they call it. We got t-shirts and hoodies available. T-shirts in all different colors. I really actually like the logo when it's on a black shirt or a blue shirt. But we'll get the link going. Just let me know if you would consider buying one of these shirts. So instead of asking for money on Patreon, I thought I'd give something back too. So let's really pump these T-shirts. So this was a car here. It's another example. This was a 1969 383 Air Grabber Super Bee. Now this car I bought on eBay. I usually don't buy cars on eBay, but I bought this one on eBay. And, you know, a quick plug again, sorry if this is boring stuff for people that have lots of experience in cars and stuff, but I really do. This whole channel was about telling my tales from the bush and teaching future generations. So I bought this car on eBay. I think I paid $9,000 for this car and I had to drive all the way to New Jersey. Now, this guy lied through his teeth, and I got suckered. I got big time suckered. And with my experience, for me, it was personally embarrassing the amount of time I spent traveling out there, but the car was what it was. It was a 1969 383 Air Grabber Super Bee, and it had the snorkels on the side. It had the full Air Grabber setup. It was a numbers matching car. Where I got suckered was this guy told me it was a running and driving car, blah blah blah, this and that, and this thing was a complete friggin' rust bucket. It was rough as hell. And I knew when I got a look at the car, I called the guy and I said, man, you better get your butt over here and hand me back some of the money, because I'm telling you right now, you lied through your teeth, and I'll get you pulled off eBay. And he didn't show up, and I got him pulled off eBay. So that's fine. I got suckered. But when I resold the car, because to be honest, I wish I never would have sold this car, because you just can't find cars like this anymore. It wasn't an actual Sublime gray car. I believe it was a B-flat blue car, but the car would have been gorgeous when it was done. But again, this is what you got to look at when you're buying something on eBay, or when you're buying something you're looking to restore a car. This car right here, so I got, let's say, $10,000 into it. I know I'm going to lose the car to 2-3 years of restoration shop. I'm looking at 40 to 50 grand. So I'm into it for 60 grand. 3 years from now, is that car going to be worth 70, 80,000 bucks? Yeah, because it's a real numbers matching Air Grabber Super Bee. But that's a break-even number. Am I going to make any money on the car? Or am I just doing it for myself? If you're just doing it for yourself, heck yeah, restore this car. This is a great car to restore. If you're doing it to make money, you might want to think about that one. Because this probably isn't going to be a big money-making car unless you hold on to it for a long time. And we're getting into a new future generation change, which is you can't do what these old coots did back in the day, which is hoard these cars and stockpile these cars and store them up and just wait to restore them later. This is more going to be an individualist thing. Can you restore that car now? So the whole purpose of this video was for you to just understand what you're getting into, know that it's not something, you can't do what these old fellas did. Look at these horde of cars. You know, that's not economically viable to do this anymore. These old guys that put these cars away a long time ago, I mean, they had the intention of restoring them, and a lot of them ended up in auctions and stuff like this, but you can't afford to do this anymore. You're talking, these cars are $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 that are selling right now. I mean, how can you afford to do this anymore? You can't. And it's a waste, because it never made sense to begin with, but I'm glad they all restored them. But at the end of the day, you just can't afford to do this anymore. Like, that's a whole yard full of rare Camaros. But you're talking 80 grand to restore all these cars. Who's got millions of dollars to do all this? The days of storing all these cars and hoping that you can restore them in the future, it's over. So now you're just picking individual cars like this. But I mean, it was incredible that these old coots did this stuff. God bless them for doing it, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have any cars lying around anymore. And just in case you don't think I know what I'm talking about hoarding cars, when I made all my money with Southern Bush Motorsports, instead of going and blowing it on fancy mansions and all that stuff, I decided to go back around and pick up 50 of the rarest cars in the world that I knew about, that nobody else knew about, and stuck them all in the building to get restored. I've never said anything to anyone about this. And there'll be another show about that, another Tales from the Bush about this. But these cars you're looking at are some of the rarest cars in the world. 100%. It made Reggie Jackson's collection of cars look silly. These cars were mind-boggling, unrestored cars that had options on them and rarities to them that nobody had ever seen before. The whole point of me showing this is that I did the same thing that I was trying to do. What these old coots did is build up a collection of cars. Ended up losing it all to a fire. It was in Mopar Collector's Guide. Massive fire, but I don't even know what that picture is. It was just parts car that I had sitting outside. But I had 50 of the rarest cars in the world sitting in this building. And when I mean rare, I'm talking like Hemi, 426 cars. Cars that they didn't build. Six-pack cars. Cars that had combinations on them and stuff ordered on them that didn't make any sense whatsoever. Power this, power that. Six-packs where there weren't supposed to be six-packs. Convertibles that weren't supposed to be a convertible. It was just mind-blowing stuff. I carefully picked all of these cars, and at the end of the day, I lost everything. But it is what it is. I'll do another Tales from the Bush on that. But I wanted you all to see this. So it's a very tough decision that you have to make. It's not about what you can afford now. It's about what you can afford. There's no rush in restoring a car. You can take as long as you want. But at the end of the day, you have to keep in mind that when you buy that car on eBay or you buy that car on another site and it needs to be restored, what can you afford? Can you actually afford to restore that car? Look at that car right there. Super rare car. You're going to need $100,000 to restore that car because it needs to be done right. Challenger convertible. This wasn't a big deal, but that was that Hemi car. Yeah, wasn't even an RT and it was a Hemi car. The options made no sense. You have to have the RT package for it to be a Hemi car, but that car wasn't. There were so many super rare cars in there. You can see that window plug right there. You know exactly what that is. It's a Daytona. Right? So the whole point of this video, and I'm sorry for boring all of the guys that got a lot more experience than that already know all this stuff, but please leave your comments for future generations because this stuff's going to be on there for a while. That you have to understand what you're getting into when you go and push that buy it now button. That you got to find a shop. If you can't do it yourself, you got to find a shop. You're going to lose the car the 2 to 3 years. You got to have the money down to be able to put into these cars. I know what hoarding these cars is all about, and I know what it's like to build up a massive collection of cars that you want to restore, because here's the proof right here. This is all my stuff. I appreciate you coming by and checking out another Tales from the Bush. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget our merch is coming out soon, and we'll have another Tales from the Bush for you soon.